no time is dead time on the NFL calendar. It's a little bit exhausting sometimes, but knowing that there's really only about 6 or 7 weeks every year that there's truly nothing going on, from about June 5th to July 20th, when there's really nothing going on. But the NFL has created a monster, and they've gotten the media to cover it.
What happens with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe the rest of the way?
Can you repeat that, Chase?
What happens with Mac Jones and Bailey Zappe the rest of the way?
Good question. Very good question. Bill Belichick is going to play the guy he thinks gives him the best chance to win. And I know that sounds like a cliche, but he's truly the only coach who behaves that way in the NFL, the only one. Could you ever see John Harbaugh benching Lamar Jackson? I can't see it. I mean, unless something really, really weird happens. I'm not saying that John Harbaugh doesn't have the guts to make a tough decision. Don't get me wrong. But what I am saying is that Bill Belichick lives by that credo, by that ethos. And if Mac Jones struggles, he's going to put Zappe in the game. I think Bailey Zappe is a very, very interesting story from the standpoint that it looks like he came out of nowhere, right? 4th round pick out of Western Kentucky. But anybody at any level of football who's thrown 64 touchdown passes in 1 year, anybody, I don't care what level it is, that is going to get respect from people in the business. And that got Bill Belichick's attention. And I fully believe that Belichick is going to not be afraid if he has to. Mac Jones has not played well this year, period. You can't look back at many great moments that he's had. And Bill Belichick doesn't know whether Bailey Zappe is the guy. But I do think I will not be surprised if one of these games he just calls for Zappe and benches Jones, and who knows for how long.
I'm curious with the way Bill Belichick is wired, where something you hear about a lot of folks who grinded and grinded and grinded, and then they get to the top. They talk about missing the daily grind. They miss the building aspect of it. They miss what it was. It kind of speaks to what you were talking about when you were first getting into the business, and just that eagerness, and just the feeling. You're at the start of something. It was just so cool to always be around this thing you always wanted to do, and there's just so much energy. Do you think Belichick has looked at the post Tom Brady years fondly, where like he's energized, he's hit this other, when people are like, oh, he's going to walk away? It's like, no, he gets to do this thing that he gets to start over. He was just contending year over year, and he had already built the juggernaut. He has to now redo it. Do you think he finds more, maybe joy is not the right way of looking at it, but do you think he's wired the way where it's more fun for him to go to the office now? Because he's like, this is hard. I've got to really work this out. This is hard for me to beat Josh Allen and the Bills.
You've discovered the seeds of Bill Belichick's greatness.
Mm-hmm.
He loves the little crap that probably a lot of people are sick of. He loves it.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Sims of NBC, who worked for the Patriots, I think for like 16 months when he got out of football and was trying to figure out what he wanted to do. He was offensive quality control guy. And he told me a story once that it was Mother's Day weekend, and Bill didn't even realize that it was Mother's Day weekend. And at one point, guys on his team, because he told everybody, well, here's what we're doing this weekend, blah, blah, blah. And somebody said, hey, Bill, Sunday's Mother's Day. We gotta take our wives out or whatever. He said, oh, geez, I'm sorry. And he obviously gave everybody Mother's Day off. But I only bring up that story because, not to say, oh, he's either shut off from the rest of the world, which honestly most football coaches are. But Sims has a very interesting way of looking at Belichick, and that is, he said that he has the exact same attitude, approach, ethos on May 11 as he would have on October 11.
Hmm.
He could be playing the biggest game of his year, and there would be nothing that would look any different. Now, Chase, I want you to think back, okay? I want you to think back to when you were whatever, however old you were, that New England was playing Seattle in the Super Bowl, okay? And do you remember toward the end of the game, in the last minute and a half of the game, that the Seattle was down at the 1.5-yard line and the clock was running? And everybody is saying, Bill, they're going to score a touchdown. You got to start calling your timeouts. You want to give Brady some time after they score. You've got to be aware of the scoreboard. And Belichick just stood there, just letting the clock go. And everybody, I remember I was in the press box. I'm saying, what is Belichick doing? Turns out he knew exactly what he was doing. And what he was doing is he was turning the tables on the Seahawks, putting the pressure on them, making them hurry, because the Seahawks were sure that he was going to use his timeouts. So the Seahawks kind of hurried, and Russell Wilson throws the interception to Malcolm Butler. And it literally, his approach won a Super Bowl for the Patriots. But a friend of mine who at the time worked for the Patriots said to me in that offseason, he goes, if there was a heart monitor attached to Bill Belichick at that moment, I would bet you it's that his heart was beating at the exact same beats per minute as if he was on vacation in Nantucket in the offseason. Because to him, this is just what I do. This is what I do. And so I think, honestly, when I think of Belichick, I think of a guy who is such a flatliner that he enjoys every aspect of the football world.